Hello, MavMind Collective, and welcome to another episode of the HypnoSales Show. Today we're going to talk about how to critique anyone. So I've had a very long career in front of customers and prospects. And in that long career, I have had the privilege of working with at least one, if not more, teammates that are on the call with me, helping the customer through whatever journey that they're on. Whether it's pre-sale or post-sale, it's usually multiple people from my team together playing our different parts because we have different roles, we have different things we are responsible for that customer. So we're on the call together to help guide them through it and help them feel comfortable on that journey. In that time, I have to say, most of the teammates I've worked with, most of the other roles, have been really, really good. I've learned something from them, they've learned something from me, and we've executed very well. We've engaged very well together as a team, very congruently in front of the customer, with the customer, to help make sure their experience is the best experience they could ever have. On occasion, however, there have been some teammates I've worked with that were maybe on a particular call, they weren't as good as they could have been. Maybe they were mediocre. Maybe they weren't all there. Maybe there was a certain question that came up or a certain situation that they had a little trouble handling, but maybe they weren't aware of it. Or maybe they weren't aware that how they handled it was not ideal for that particular call in that particular situation. So then I find myself in that situation afterwards going, I really want to find a way to tell my colleague, my teammate, that they should have did something different, or maybe I could offer some way that they could handle it better next time. And it might be a personality thing, it just might be a situational thing, it might be a lack of a skill that they have that I'm expecting them to have that maybe I do and I want to share it with them. So sometimes I'm not sure how to approach it, like how to let them know that they need to up their game, so to speak, and maybe improve a skill or improve something about how they're approaching it. Like I said, it's not very common, it's very rare, but when it happens, I find that I want to provide that constructive criticism. I want to tell them about it and I want to help them for their sake, okay? Because we're all A players and we're all leaders and we want to do that with each other. But sometimes it's like, depending on the person, depending on the situation, how do I bring it up without sounding like I'm attacking them or being too aggressive or assertive, right? So I've come up with this two-step process that I use to basically provide that critique to anyone I'm on a call with. And it's all based on the subconscious and how we handle and how we listen to the way people describe things. And the first step that I have listed here is requesting to be critiqued first. So I'm kind of playing into this law of reciprocity, which we use with our customers a lot of the time, where we give something to get something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to request to be critiqued, and I'm going to ask my counterpart, my teammate, to critique me. And I might do it like this. I might say, hey, the call we were just on, how do you think it went? Okay, how do you think the customer was perceiving us? Do you think they were getting what we were saying? What do you think about what we said and what was going on? And I'll get them to kind of give me some feedback about the call in general. And then I'll say, and then how do you think I did? Do you think I did okay? Which is a closed-ended question. It's like a yes or no. Like, how do you think I did okay? Usually they'll say, oh yeah, you did fine. I'll say, okay, how do you think I could do it next time and improve it? Do you think I could do anything better next time? Like the next time we're on a call with a customer, that customer, or any customer, is there anything on your mind that you would be willing to share with me to help me improve how I do it next time? So in other words, I'll frame it as a very positive thing about the next call, not the last call, but the next call we're on. So I'm trying to get them to go into the subconscious to pull out like what they think I could do better and offer me a constructive criticism, something very positive that maybe I could try next time. Typically when I do that, they usually will come up with something. They'll think, yeah, well, when you said this, or when you approached this that way, or answered this question, I was thinking you could have said this, or you could have done that. And they'll offer me one or more different little critiques very specific to the call we were on, in hopes that I'll change that behavior or change the way I do approach that or go about that particular part of the call with the next client in the future, if we're on a call together in the future. And then I'll acknowledge it and I'll say, that's very good. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's really helpful. And I always reward them by very positively for giving me the critique. Because what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm basically allowing them to critique me and I'm rewarding them for it so they feel good for critiquing me. And then now they have a debt to me at this point. It's uneven. So the law of reciprocity kicks in, and then I can immediately then go to step 2, which is I ask them if I have their permission to critique them in return. So in other words, I'll say, and by the way, would it be okay if I provided some feedback for you as well? Is that okay? And I get their permission. Now, I've rarely ever had anyone say no after they just critiqued me. After someone that I asked to give me feedback and they provided feedback that was very helpful for me, I've rarely, if at all, ever had them say, no, I don't want you to give me any feedback. Because no one's going to say, I only give feedback one way and I don't want to be critiqued. Once I get them to critique me, now I have every right to ask to critique them. And even if they don't want it, they still will let me do it. They'll maybe be reluctant. They might go, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. And you can sense that they don't want to hear it, but they have to let me do it because of the law of reciprocity. It's human nature that if you just did something, it's only fair. It's all about fairness, right? It's only fair that you allow someone to critique you back. So I always ask in step 2, is it okay if I give you some feedback? And then they say, yes, sure. And then I provide the feedback that I'm thinking. And I always frame it as, next time we do this, here's what I would suggest you do next time. So I never make it about what we just did, because I don't want it to come across I don't want them to get them all defensive and anything about what just happened. I always make it about I'm just telling you this because I expect to work with you again. I enjoy working with you, and we're going to get on another call in the future. And here's what I think you could do on the next call with the next client, the next prospect. And I'll just give them the feedback that way about the future, so they'll accept it and listen to it into the future, and I'll future tense it like that because it hasn't happened yet. So they subconsciously they won't defend against it as much, and they won't get defensive about it if it's about something that hasn't happened yet. So I rely on the way the subconscious doesn't really know about the past, the future, and that's why I put it into the future like that. Both when I ask for their feedback and when I ask to critique them and give them feedback. And I never say the word critique either, because I don't want that can have a negative connotation as well. So I'll say, is it all right if I provide you some feedback or tell you about something I think you could do better next time? So it's about me telling them about something, not critiquing them, or providing feedback, not critiquing. So I avoid the word critique when I say that, even though I'm using it here in this video and this podcast. I'm saying how to critique. That's really what I'm doing. I never tell them that. I just say, hey, I'll just want to tell you about something I think you could do better that might actually benefit you. And I make it very positive for them. And of course, they let me do it. And at the end, they thank me, and I thank them for their feedback. And then we, next time we incorporate that feedback, and we make sure we continue to improve our relationship and how we team up together to make the customer successful. So that's my 1-2 step process. Request to be critiqued first, request feedback for a future meeting, and then immediately ask, is it okay? And I get permission. Is it okay if I provide some feedback for you on how I think we can do this better in the future together, or how you can do this better with me in the future with a future client? And they agree, and we do that, and it ends up being a wonderful way, a wonderful technique to use that law of reciprocity to make it a positive experience for both them and us, and we continue to improve together as a team. Thank you for watching. I know you find value in these videos now, didn't you? And if you, like me, are in a customer-facing role, I'm wondering if you want to watch another video now designed to help you get better at what you do every day. Or not. You don't have to watch another video if you don't want to.